but it is offering time in the temple. Come on, offering time in the temple. Pay your tithes and your offering.
In every single one of the books of the New Testament, except for one, Philemon, we were told to watch out for wolves. We were told to watch out for false teachers. We were told to watch out for prophets who lie. We were told to keep our eyes open, right? We were to test prophecies and to not listen to false prophets and to not listen to the false teachers, because they are going to just use you. And Jesus says we will know them by their fruits. And one of the ways in which Jesus says that you will know false teachers is when he calls them out. When he called them out when he was alive, if people are doing the same type of stuff, then we need to pay attention to it. For instance, in Mark chapter 12, we're told, beware of the scribes who like to walk around in long robes. So when your pastor, when your preacher, when the person that you know, it presents themselves in a showy manner, then you ask yourselves, wait, why are they doing this? It's okay to dress good. But if they're doing it to get attention, that's a different story. When they walk around in long robes and like greetings in the marketplaces, when they're the type of person that is going to seek out the person wherever they happen to be, if there's a group of people, they go find the people to talk to and they position themselves so that they're the ones that are going to be talked to. They like those greetings in the marketplaces and have the best seats in the synagogues, right? Because they want the power. They want the place of honor at the feasts. But in reality, what are the scribes doing? They are devouring widows' houses. And for a pretense, they make long prayers. They don't actually care how they pray. They're doing it for show because it's all about them. It's what they can get out of it, not what they can do to serve you, but what they can do to serve themselves. That's the reason why they devour widows' houses. They have taught you incorrectly such that you give them the money and they spend it on their lavish lifestyle when your house is being repossessed. It's all hypocrisy. In fact, that's what we're told here in Luke chapter 12. Beware of the leaven of the Pharisees, which is hypocrisy, right? They do not do what they call you to do. Luke chapter 20, same thing. They devour widows' houses. And so we've got beware of the scribes. They devour widows' houses. And then exactly what happens? Jesus looked up and he saw the rich putting their gifts into the offering box. And he saw the poor widow, right? We have widow and we have widow. When the Bible puts words next to each other, the context tells us, oh, we need to pay attention here because maybe it relates to what we just heard. And so when Luke wrote this, he put it such that widow and widow show up. So then you think to yourself, oh, widow, is her house going to be devoured? And then that's exactly what happens. And who put in 2 copper coins. And Jesus says, and he said, truly, I tell you, this widow has put in more than all of them, for they contributed out of their abundance, but out of her poverty, she put all she had to live on, right? She put what she had to live on, all that she had to live on. What have they done? The scribes and the Pharisees, they have taught this widow that she needs to give to the temple so that the temple can grow, so that it can serve God, so that what the Messiah can show up. Whatever it is that they did, they were teaching erroneously so that they could get all of this money so that they could devour her house. And this widow is going to go home and she is going to die because she gave all that she had to live on. And so then Jesus pronounces judgment on the whole situation. Luke 21:4, all that she had to live on. And while some were speaking of the temple, how it was adorned with noble stones and offering, Jesus says, as for these things that you see, the days will come when there will not be left here one stone upon another that will not be thrown down. This is judgment. This is Jericho. Jericho was thrown down so that not one stone was thrown upon each other. Jesus is saying that the temple has become so corrupt that the widow giving all that she has to live on, it's just going to be destroyed. She is not giving wisely. He's not commending her. He is calling out the hypocrisy of the scribes and the Pharisees who say, give all that you have to live on, and yet they are giving out of their abundance, and they're making all of this noise, and this, many rich people put in large sums of money. As a widow came and put in 2 small copper coins, which make a penny, everything that she has to live on. And as he came out of the temple, one of his disciples said to him, look, teacher, what wonderful stones and what wonderful things. And Jesus says, do you see these great buildings? Question mark. There will not be left one stone upon another that will not be thrown down. A condemnation of judgment. If you go and you search for widow's mite, praise or lament by Addison Wright, this article is the one that is referenced all over the place to say that this is not a praise of the widow. This is a condemnation of the scribes and the Pharisees and the teachings that devour widows' houses. Beware of the scribes, right? Long robes and have salutations in the marketplace and the best seats in the synagogues and the place of honor of feasts, who devour widows' houses, right? And Addison says here, pay attention to this catchword, widow, right? And so the previous unit is the immediate context of the story, the widow's mite in both Gospels. We are to pay attention to the immediate context. Before and after tells us what is going on. It tells us if the situation is an approval of the widow or disapproval of the entire situation. Jesus' attitude to the widow's gift as a downright disapproval and not as an approbation. She had been taught and encouraged by the religious leaders to donate as she does. And Jesus condemns the value system that motivates her action and condemns the people who conditioned her to do it. And then he says, finally, there is no praise of the widow in the passage. If no invitation, and there's no invitation to imitate her precisely because she ought not to be imitated. Nowhere does say Jesus actually to commend her and say, look at her and go and do likewise. Jesus said that several places in the Bible where he says, and go and do likewise, right? But here he says, beware of the scribes who devour widows' houses, right? So what is happening? They present themselves with these long flowing robes in their best dress. And what are they doing? Destroying buildings. And then you get to the temple. Look at this temple and how it's ornate in its best dress. And what is going to happen? It is going to be torn down. This is what we call a chiasm. A chiasm is Hebrew poetry that focuses you on the center. You do A, B, C, B, A. So you make this up and down. A, B, C, B, A. The center is the central point. Jesus is calling us to this question of, is he praising her or is he condemning the situation? And he says, I am condemning the situation because look at the scribes. What have they done? They are devouring her house because they have convinced her to give all that she has. That is the reason why I'm going to tear this temple down so that not one stone is left on another, because that is a judgment against the entire situation. The immediate context in both Gospels is clear enough. Devouring the widow's houses, not one stone left upon another. Do you see here how Addison is revealing the chiasm, where you have these mirroring situations that are going on? It is important for us to pay attention to the literary tools that are being used. And Jesus is not saying, go and do likewise. He's saying, we do not want a religious system that devours widows' houses. So pay attention, beware of the Pharisees, right? The leaven of the Pharisees, which is hypocrisy. Beware of the scribes who devour widows' houses. They present themselves as this amazing person, but in reality, they devour widows' houses. Quinton, another scholar, says, while extensively concerned with other more substantial issues in the Mind of Mark, the article that he wrote, nevertheless makes a brief and perceptive comment on this passage, the widow's mite. The point is probably an elaboration of the way the scribes devour widows' houses. So that rebuke and rejection of the wrongdoers is central, right? That's this chiasm. The central of the idea is the rebuke of the scribes who devour widows' houses. If it is appended to inculcate positive moral teaching, it lacks at least the form of the rest of the teaching material gathered here. In the book of Mark, when something is called, when you're called to do it, then you get add-on phrases that say, go and do likewise or something else. And Quentin is saying, we don't get that. We don't find that in the book of Mark. So we need to pay attention to good scholarship here and say, if we have a type of person that shows up and they present themselves as this amazing person by the way that they look, but they are teaching you in such a way that you are giving all that you have to live on, that person is a liar and a thief. That person is to be avoided. I say that we have a false preacher, a wolf in sheep's clothing, who is doing just that in our community. And I will tell you right here, if we listen to this.
Your offerings. Amen. Amen. He said if you pay your tithes and your offerings, he will rebuke the devourer, open you the windows of heaven, pour you out a blessing.
He says, if you pay your tithes and your offerings, he will rebuke the devourer. But the thing is, who's he targeting? He is targeting widows. He's targeting old ladies. This is what happens. You target people, especially widows, to give all that you have. I will rebuke the devourer for you. And what does Jesus say? He says they devour widows' houses. The scribes have become the devourer. And Jesus says, I will rebuke them, which is the reason why he's going to tear down the temple. Apostle Broadnax is a devourer. Just pay attention here to what he says. Pay the tithe, pay the tithe, pay the tithe. All he wants is your money.
You won't have room to receive. Amen. Amen. And those of you that are watching, if you want to see the into KPM, those of you here in the sanctuary, amen, go to the cyber sanctuary, KPM, $KPM 2013 is our Cash App. Amen. If you'd like to bless the First Lady today, amen, who will be bringing this message, please send it to $KPM 2013. Amen. Pay your tithes and your offerings. Amen. Amen. Let us stand. Be seated. We'll give you a few minutes to pay. Pay. Come on.
Pay. Pay that money.
Amen.
Pay that money.
Amen. Because you can't be God given. No matter how you try. Amen. The more you give, the more he'll give to you. Can I get a witness in the church? Oh, yeah. Amen. 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 Come on. Those of you on social media, amen. Come on and join us with a
pay that tithe. Today. All you on social media, amen. Pay that tithe.
Amen. Somebody shout glory. Glory. Amen. While you're getting your offering, amen. While you're getting your offering this morning, amen. Somebody shout glory. Amen.
The thing, though, is there's nobody at this APM Ministries. It's just his family. You get a couple people online that are watching, and they're probably giving money, which is the reason why he keeps doing this. But look, there's nobody here. But this was before he moved in to town here. It was just his family. I assume that it's just his family once again that is showing up. And I'm giving you a warning. Do not go to KPM. It is not a church. It is a place where he will devour your house. He's a wolf in sheep's clothing. All he wants from you is to pay that tithe, pay that tithe, pay that tithe. In fact, his first sermon for the year 2024 was give more in 2024. Give more in 2024. All he did was repeat it. Give more in 2024.
Say yes. 24. Give God more. Give God more. Somebody shout, give him more. Give him more. Here we go. Give him more.
such a hypnotic way to get you to say, okay, you know what? I'm going to give more in 2024, because all he wants is your money. So I just have a warning for you. Do not give your money to him. He will not rebuke the devourer. He is the devourer. Jesus tells us to beware of the scribes who walk around in long robes. Broad necks, all he does is walk around in fancy clothing. He shows himself off with his clothing. The entire time, he is presenting himself as a devourer of widows' houses. So please do not send him your money. Avoid going to KPM Ministries. Nothing he will teach you is going to be any good. Thank you.